Hello and welcome to Fletch and Sav, the best bits today, live from Carrow Road, where Norwich hadn't beaten today's visitors Liverpool for more than 20 years. You were a lad then, a slip of the lad in those days.
We had serious debates, some good laughs, but most important of all, we had bowls, Ed Bowles, the Norwich chairman.
Like what you've done there.
Nice.
Why do you think all of a sudden he's gone up a few notches in terms of what he's been able to achieve for Manchester United?
A lot of people talk about him and say, oh, his form's dipping, he's over the hill, he's only going to get worse and all the rest of it. I think it's so hard to judge in a Man United team at the moment. He doesn't get the service that he should be getting for you to judge accurately. But the last few weeks, he's obviously banged in a few and shut a few people up.
Yeah, I think he's just scoring goals. That's what has been missing of late. So when he doesn't score, he's playing terribly, and when he scores, he's back to form. If you watch this performance,
he does polarise opinion.
But if you watch this performance last week against Liverpool, it wasn't good, as in his overall performance. I mean, the game was horrific, and his performance wasn't great. It's just that he scored the winner. So him scoring the winner makes everybody go, "Ah, it was a brilliant performance." But actually, he's either good or bad with Wayne. I mean, I think he's the most fantastic player and the best we've got. But I think the fact that people are now saying he's playing well, it's just because he scored an important goals. That's all it is. And I'm with Mo. I think he's done great, really, because it's really difficult playing well in that Manchester United team at the minute.
Would you be prepared to sacrifice a Ross Barkley to get Rooney and Kane into the England side, to play Rooney in a slightly withdrawn role, or even find a way to almost play a 4-4-2, which has become a lot more prevalent in the Premier League this season and seems to suit England in terms of the players?
The way the team's set up, I'd have the two of them in. Yeah. You know, I'd have Harry Kane as the number 9, and as you said, I'd have Wayne Rooney as the number 10, definitely. And if it was the choice between, you know, missing out on Ross Barkley or Wayne, I'd have, as I said before, no disrespect to Ross Barkley, I'd have Wayne in all day long.
The flip side of that would be that at some point you've got to get the young kids in and you've got to start using them, and you've got to build the next generation of England
only if
team.
they're better than what you've got, Fletch. We're talking about England, you're talking about winning a trophy, you'd have your best players in. I don't care if they're 46 or 22.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
You have the best players in at the time. Forget about youth and building to the next tournament, all looking forward 4 years. Yeah. The next one's in Russia, the one after that's in Qatar. Forget about that. He should have dominated Exeter, shouldn't he, as Mo said? He should have dominated them. He should have scored his header in the first. He should have, after setting up the third, and it was a lovely play when he put João Teixeira through for his goal. He should have scored there. We should have been talking about Benteke scoring 2 goals at least against Exeter. The header and the last one. And then everything's rosy. He's nearly getting up towards double figures then in goals, but actually you're talking about his lack of movement now.
Keep or sell Daniel Sturridge?
Keep him, of course, yeah. Just get him. We just need him fit, don't we? And we need him fit to play to the end of the season. But of course, keep him.
Talent like that, you've got to keep him and hope that he can get his body right.
Yeah, absolutely keep him. But is he just genetically fit? That's the
Klopp
thing.
just gives you the impression that he's not sure about him, though. Which
well, he's not his boy, is he? That's the thing. He's not his signing. He hasn't done it for Klopp yet, so.
He hasn't seen the videos yet.
His patience would wear out if he doesn't play from now to the end of the season.
The average tenure at the moment, as it stands, is 1.58 years for a manager.
I know.
That's the average.
On the back of that, my pal David Dunn went at Oldham, first job, done his badges, leaves after, I don't know, 20 games.
Yep.
Look, you got now Kevin Nolan, goes in as player manager at Leyton Orient. How long will he have? If he does 20 games and wins 4 or 5, are they going to get rid of him?
Yeah, this is the problem. The pressure is already on those young managers coming in. It's pressurised anyway. The change, when you're a player, and it happened to me, and if you went into management, when you're a player, you think different. You think, oh, this is going to be easy. I've got these ideas. I think he did it wrong, and he did it wrong, and I like what he did. But when it becomes you, suddenly you go, wow, hang on a minute. It's not as easy as you think, and you do need that experience, and they're not getting that time. They're not getting the time to cut their teeth.
What is the best derby in football?
Norwich Ipswich.
Hey! I would have said Forest Derby, you see. I'm with you.
Boca River in...
Boca River!
Yeah, that's a good one.
Have you ever been to that?
I'd love to, but no.
Glenn, what do you think?
Never been, but I would love it.
Oh dear, I've never experienced the Rangers Celtic. I think, looking from afar, I mean, obviously Tottenham Arsenal for me growing up was the big one for us, but I've never experienced that. I think I'd like to do that. Rangers Celtics looks to me from afar. Up there,
you can imagine a Rangers Celtic one now, because they haven't played each other for a long time.
Yeah, imagine the next time they do play each other.
Yeah, that would be a big
What's yours,
brilliant,
mate?
yeah.
Once I played him, I'd go Birmingham Villa.
Would you?
Hatred.
See, we said this morning, would you say El Clasico? But that's strictly speaking not a derby,
It's not a derby, mate.
Not a derby, is it?
And that was
Not a derby. You were telling us when you sat down that you first came to watch an FA Cup tie here back in 1973.
Yep.
Ted McDougall was your favourite player at the time.
He
I mean,
was.
you've been a fan of this place for a long time. So to get the opportunity now to have a real opportunity to steer it and guide it and build it, that must be fantastic.
It is, and my family can't quite believe it because I was born in Norwich. All my dad, my uncles, my cousins, everybody's been Norwich for generations, and we've all come here and watched games. And so suddenly we've got a family member who's actually on the board, and so people can't quite believe it's happened. But it's hugely important because if you're a football manager, you've got to say we take every game as it comes. That's what you've got to do. But you've got to be planning for the next transfer window. If you are the board, though, you've got to be thinking about 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. We've got great facilities here, but can we make them bigger? Are we really equipped to compete at the kind of high financial level the Premier League's becoming? And all my life, we've been a yo-yo club. So we've gone up and then we've gone down, we've gone up, we've gone down. That's getting harder in modern football. So the question is, can we make the strategic decisions to back the manager and the team and keep us up? You know, not just for 1 or 2 years, but for 5 years. It's a big challenge for us.
And the fact that Alex Neil makes so many changes every week tells you that he doesn't trust his players. He won't come out and say that, of course he won't, but of course he doesn't trust his players. I think this is, if Pinto plays today, he'll be the fourth right back, won't he?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, what is he, £2 million? With the greatest respect to Norwich, why is no one bigger bought him?
And it's that consistency as well, isn't it? That a back four is so important, especially if you're a team who isn't in and about the relegation area. There's that consistency of a back four, and they haven't had that all season.
Niall Queedy says on Twitter, Stephen Naismith is the best signing of the January window.
We need somebody to come in and score some goals for us in the next few weeks, and we want somebody really experienced who knows the Premier League. The thing about Stephen is he can play behind the striker, he can play up front, left and right, very versatile. He'll support our strikers, and he's got real, Premiership credibility and experience, and that's really important. It's really hard to buy that. I don't think in my time we've very often, when we've been in the Premier League, bought in proven Premier League players. We've tended to bring in players to see whether they can make it in the Premier League. So this is quite an unusual signing for us.
He did the same when Wickham at the Cup. I remember we were playing that game and stood in the tunnel before the game, and he said to the lad, the Wickham player, which we were playing him in the Cup,
Don't we lost?
Just before we come, we lost. Just before the game, he said, "Where have you parked?" He said, "You parked next to my Ferrari." Just literally just before the game.
I didn't, Darren.
Then we went and lost 2-1. Brilliant.
That might hold back your political career.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure about the hair.
Well,
I think you might just drop it.
right.
In Parliament, you have to drop it a level.
To be fair, then, you know Brad Pitt yourself here.
That's all for Fletch and Sav this week. Hope you enjoyed the show, and remember to stay across all of our digital platforms, including @Fletch and Sav on Twitter, for all the best bits of this weekend and to see what we've got coming up on the show.
Next week, it's the exciting second instalment of our FA Cup travels, Darren. And after the good times we had at Wickham, we're getting ready for Colchester v Tottenham Hotspur, 10 a.m. next Saturday.
See you then.
Bye.